Why is it illegal to sleep in your car? The laws vary from state to state and city to city. Some cities will allow you to sleep in your car as long as you are legally parked. Some won't. Some private businesses will allow you to sleep in a vehicle in their parking lot, provided it's not prohibited by local ordinance, and that you follow some simple rules. Many Walmart stores and Cracker Barrel restaurants allow overnight parking and sleeping in your vehicle. Their main goal is to provide a place where travelers can stop for the night, not a place where you can live in your car. I was always taught to pull over and sleep if I was too tired to drive anymore. I don't think it's so much the sleeping in your car, but being parked for an extended period of time on private property. The car is your property, the parking lot is not. It has been a couple of decades ago now, but I was homeless for 6 months but had a car. I stayed in hospital parking lots and never had any issue. There were 2 hospitals in town plus some other spots where a car parked overnight didn't raise any suspicion. I would camp on my weekends in the woods as well. Took showers in the truck stops. Back then it was $5 a shower. I was in a truck stop last year and I checked out the prices of a shower and it was over $20 SMH. Not sure if it is still possible, but truckers have lots of free showers because they buy fuel. So I was able to get a free one now and then if I asked a trucker who was nice. It's not. Feel free to sleep in your car on your own property every night. It's sleeping in your car on someone else's property that is illegal. It's like illegally parked sleep loitering, to put it oddly. Probably an anti-homeless and anti-vagrant measure. It's not. Sleeping in the parking lot is. Shit, guess I've been breaking the law for the past 6 months. Get an Uber, Lyft sticker for your car and find out where the holding lots are. Airports. They let you sleep in them if you look like you work for Uber, Lyft. The problem isn't sleeping, it's when they throw their trash out the window and go to the bathroom on the street. I lived in my van years ago for over 6 months. I was never bothered by the authorities for vagrancy or anything of the sort. However, I was very careful to avoid being conspicuous or disruptive. I changed my parking position frequently between several locations around the city. I usually parked in places where it was normal for a vehicle to be parked overnight. If you are struggling to make rent, it can be a good option, but the laws in many locations make it frowned upon or downright illegal. So you have to be careful. Sad that the poor are punished in this way for being poor. It's perfectly legal in every jurisdiction to sleep in your car. What isn't legal in most places is to have your car parked on property that you don't own, and that someone else paid for while you sleep in it. Yes, it's anti-vagrant, anti-homeless, whatever. But anyone who argues that that makes it immoral is free to let people park on their lawn to sleep. I have in fact slept in my car on more than one occasion. I don't recommend it. It's generally uncomfortable as hell. There is usually no restroom, nor anywhere to wash up, brush teeth, shave. Those occasions included in a public rest area while traveling cross-country alone. That's encouraged. Actually, in the Govett Border parking lot when I only had 8 hours between shifts in a large theme park employee parking lot, in a similarly busy situation, and I cleared it with security first. Note that those were all temporary, and in the cases where it was not public property, I worked for them, and so it was in their interest. 2. In no case did I park my car where it was on random private property, nor was I blocking other public usage. So, you can sleep in your car. The challenge is to find a legal place to put the car while you're sleeping. And that's not in a random parking lot, because those belong to private entities. The police are well entitled to check on suspicious parked cars remaining in a store's parking lot overnight. And they will. They'll check the registration to see if it's stolen. They'll find you inside. And then they'll wake you up to ask you WTF you're doing? Not very restful. Also not recommended. I would find rest stops on the highway and sleep there. It's not illegal to sleep in your car. It is illegal to sleep on someone else's property without their permission, or to violate city parking bylaws and no camping bylaws. Why? To avoid ad hoc homeless encampments that can bring safety hazards, violence, filth and insecurity to a neighborhood. You personally are not harming anyone by sleeping in your car somewhere where overnight parking is allowed. But the logic is that if you do it, then a few dozen other folk might do it in the same area. And that's when the problems start. So they nip things in the bud by cracking down on the one person sleeping in their car. I was briefly houseless and woke up one morning to a ticket on my windshield while I was visibly asleep in the front seat. Funny now, but not so much at the time. LMAO. Your property is turning someone else's property into the foundation of your bedroom without rent or agreement. In my township, you need a permit to sleep in your own RV on your own property. The permit is good for 7 days, and you can get 2 per calendar year. I objected to the ordinance before it was passed. They said, if your neighbor had an RV parked next to the property line and they were out there partying and making all kinds of noise at 3 a.m., you wouldn't like that. I replied that if my neighbor was by the property line partying and making all kinds of noise at 3 a.m., no, I wouldn't like that. But the fact it was happening in an RV would be totally irrelevant. And the proposed ordinance is irrelevant to that scenario anyway, as it only addresses sleeping in an RV, not partying and making all kinds of noise in one. No one else objected. The board passed the ordinance unanimously. It's more about where you park.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.